If you're a mom like me, navigating the complexity of raising a child with ADHD, I know how draining your normal day probably felt today. I know there were moments today where you wondered why something that looks so simple on the outside feels so impossible in your home. So before we dive in, pause with me for a second. Take a slow breath. You're not behind. You're not doing this wrong. Your child isn't resisting focus, they're searching for regulation. So many of us grew up with this picture of what learning is supposed to look like: a quiet child sitting neatly at a tidy desk, pencil in hand, body still. But for a child with ADHD, that setup can feel like a cage. Sitting still doesn't help their brain focus, it actually makes everything harder. What looks like defiance is often discomfort. What looks like distraction is really unmet sensory needs. Instead of turning learning time into a sit still battle, try what I call an activity swap. Set a clear, realistic expectation. You're going to read for 10 minutes, then add the part that changes everything. When the timer goes off, you get 5 minutes to move. That movement can look like jumping jacks, wall push ups, running laps around the kitchen table, or even dancing to one song. It doesn't need to be fancy, it just needs to be intentional. When movement is planned instead of forbidden, your child's nervous system relaxes. Their body finally gets what it's been asking for. And here's the part that feels backward but works: that burst of movement actually prepares their brain to focus again. You're not rewarding avoidance, you're supporting regulation. Movement isn't a distraction for a child with ADHD, it's information, it's medicine, it's how their brain resets. You may still have messy days, you may still feel tired, but each time you choose understanding over control, you're teaching your child that their body isn't the enemy and neither are you. So give yourself grace and be gentle with yourself tonight. You're not just raising a child with ADHD, you're nurturing self awareness, resilience, and trust, one imperfect, compassionate day at a time.